What's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave. Listen, Alexander Usyk wants to fight Deontay Wilder next. Like in his very next fight. Right? He doesn't talk about any negotiations, nothing. He just says straight up he wants Wilder next. He does a 20-minute interview with Boxing King Media. I will leave the link to that interview in the description and in the comment section if you want to check it out. It's a really good interview. They ask a lot of good questions. He answers them. They asked him about retirement. They asked him about the WBO and the title that he just dropped. They asked about Fabio Wardley. They asked about Anthony Joshua. Is he really training with his camp? It's a pretty good interview. Check out the interview. But yeah, he basically says, and this is coming off the question about Fabio Wardley. You know, Fabio Wardley was his mandatory after beating Joseph Parker. Usyk vacates that title. Okay. A lot of people feel a way about it. I did make a video talking about it. And a lot of people feel that that was a duck. Cool. Um, so they ask him about that fight. And he says that he was interested in fighting Joseph Parker. He was interested in that fight. But when he lost to Wardley, he says he's not really interested in fighting Wardley right now. He said if Wardley, maybe down the line. Let me just because I don't want to misquote him. He said down the line he would fight Wardley depending on what he does from here. All right. I know a lot of people are going to feel a way about that because a lot of people were already calling him out and calling him a ducker by not fighting Fabio Wardley and just vacating the title. I said, well, let's see who he fights next before we jump to that conclusion. He's been in some really, really, really tough heavyweight fights recently. And, that was my stance on it. There's a lot of other good heavyweights, but there's only a few I think deserve a shot at Usyk, Fabio Wardley being one of them. Ajay Kabayel being another one of them. All right. There's a few guys out there that I think is cool. Like I would like to see the fight. I don't think Moses deserved the fight, but I wouldn't be mad if they made the fight. But Deontay Wilder, damn, I had to really think about this today. And not exactly the same, but I kind of feel like it's similar to when Virgil called out Spence recently. Not exactly the same. Why? Because Spence got stopped, brutally stopped in his last fight, and he hasn't fought in 2.5 years. So for Virgil to call out Spence right at the moment where everybody want to see you fight Jerron Boots Ennis was kind of weird, you know? Now, this is not as bad because Wilder is somewhat active, right? He does fight once a year. He's coming off of a win, against who's this guy? Tyrell Herndon. All right. I did watch the fight. He stopped the guy in the 7th round. But we already know what Wilder's been through in the past like 6 years. Wilder hasn't fought more than once since 2019. Luis Ortiz rematch was the last time that year, was the last time he fought more than once that year. He lost to Tyson Fury twice in the second and third fight, being stopped. He didn't went on and fight. Sorry about that. He went on and fight Robert Helenius, where he stopped him in the first round, but then he went on to get basically outclassed by Joseph Parker. Got swept in that fight, and then went and got stopped by Zhilei Zhang last year in 5 rounds. And then he came back this year in June and fought a journeyman, so he does have a win. The way I look at it is like this. If Wilder heard this, which I'm sure he heard it by now, there was some little talk about those two fighting, maybe a few years back. I can't remember if it was before the Fury fight with Usyk or after. But I remember there was some chatter about Usyk interested in taking that fight. But the way I look at it right now is like, look, if Wilder heard that news, I think he should definitely jump on the opportunity, you know, because with all these losses you had recently, not only will you get an opportunity to get another bag, but you'll get an opportunity to redeem yourself. Like anybody that's a heavyweight that has the opportunity to fight Alexander Usyk, they should all take it. You know, not trying to say Usyk ain't dangerous because we know he is, but excuse me, it's the opportunity. At the same time, Usyk, are you like looking to just beat all of the recent heavyweight champions before you walk away, when you walk away? Because he says in this interview that he still wants to keep fighting. So you said you was interested in Joseph Parker, but you're not interested in Fabio Wortley. And now you're saying you want to fight Deontay Wilder. That lets me know that you want to walk away beating all of the heavyweights from last generation. All the champions, I mean. Not all of the heavyweights, but all the champions. Champions, Joseph Parker, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury already beat twice. Anthony Joshua, you already beat twice. Daniel Dubois was the new guy that you beat, and you beat him twice. And the only reason why you fought him twice is because a lot of people felt like, you got a gift in the first fight because of the low blow situation, right? Cool. So you beat Daniel Dubois, but you had to face Daniel Dubois at some point to become undisputed, you know? Um, so you did what you had to do there. But if you are interested or you were interested in fighting Joseph Parker, and if you are interested in fighting Deontay Wilder, even though those guys, well, not Parker, but Wilder is definitely past it, that means you want to walk away with having his name under your resume, or you just want a tune up. I don't know. Because some people are going to look at this as a tune up. Now, I'm not saying that Usyk is not deserving of a voluntary fight, because as a guy that has been fighting undisputed in two divisions, right? You fought undisputed, you fought all the best guys at cruiserweight at the time you was there. You fought in the tournament setting, and then now you came up to heavyweight, and you've had these rematches. Is it the fight that I really want to see based on the timing of it? No. All right. Am I gonna watch it? Absolutely. It's Deontay Wilder at the end of the day, and it's Usyk. But the timing of it, it's more of a, it's more of on a tune-up side for me. And I say that with all due respect because Wilder has a puncher's chance in any fight that he's in. He does. With that puncher's chance, though, the puncher's chance hasn't really came through for him when he stepped up. It worked all the way up to the Luis Ortiz level. It haven't really worked for him past that. Not much. And partly due to maybe his age and the timing and all that, but still, he's still dangerous. He's still one of the biggest punches we've seen in recent heavyweight years. Right? So no, I don't think it's as dangerous as some of the other fights that he could possibly take. But it is a good name to say, like, yeah, I beat Wilder, I beat Joshua, I beat Fury, I beat Triple D. And that doesn't even include who I beat as a cruiserweight. These are just the heavyweights. So with that being said, I'm gonna watch the fight. I think the fight will happen if that's what he really wants. You know, um, it's being blown out. I mean, I seen the interview earlier today, but it's being blown up everywhere now. You know what I mean? So that's my only assumption. It also reminds me, and I said the Virgil Ortiz thing, but it also reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. All right, after he beat Manny Pacquiao, what did he come back and say? He said, "Well, for my last one, I want to fight someone I want to fight. You know, like I follow these guys, this, that, and I know a lot of people think he's a cherry picker or he chooses his fights. But what he said in this last fight that he had with Andre Berto, he said, I want to fight. Maybe I'll fight a Kareem Mayfield. You guys remember that? This was 10 years ago, so it was a while back. But in 2015, after he beat Manny Pacquiao, when he came back, he fought Andre Berto. But leading up to that, he said, maybe I'll fight an Andre Berto or maybe a Kareem Mayfield. Now, I know a lot of you probably don't know who Kareem Mayfield is, but he's definitely was a solid boxer back then. But he wasn't no one that we would expect Floyd to face. Even Berto at the time, even though Berto was a former champion, I think he was a two-time champ, you know, and probably one of my favorite prospects ever. I mean, I was a huge Berto fan. Some of you guys already know that. But at the time, people wasn't really hearing that. But it just kind of reminds me of it because you're coming off some of your best wins, right? Just like Floyd did, and I'm talking about Usyk now. You're coming off some of your best wins, and then you say, you know what? I have room for a voluntary fight. I'm gonna fight somebody I want to fight, and now you're fighting a former champion, or you want to fight a former champion that is not quite in his prime, but this is the fight that I want. I want that fight. Is he allowed to take a voluntary fight? I mean, he doesn't have the WBO anymore, but he still has the IBF, the WBA, the WBC. And is it the WBO, by the way? Is it the WBO or IBF? I'm sorry if I get in the titles confused. But anyway, you guys know what I mean. He has 3 more titles. To me, if the man wants a voluntary, let him have a voluntary. As long as it's not getting in the way. I'm not all in with this 2-time, 3-time undisputed thing because he already dropped the belt before and then won it back, right? Against a guy that picked it up. So this could be another scenario where he drops the belt, fights someone else, then fights Fabio Worley or whoever is the current champion for that belt. And then he becomes a 3-time undisputed. Yeah, I'm not really rocking with the 2, 3 times undisputed. Like, we look at you as the champ. You already been undisputed. You beat Tyson Fury. You're a lineal champion. You are the guy. We don't really care for the 2, 3, 4, 5-time undisputed champ when you already been undisputed and you're the guy. You're the top dog. Does he allow to have a voluntary? Yes. I'm not gonna complain. All right. But I will say what I will say, and I've said this before, and I'm going to stay consistent. I believe that the person that deserves a title shot right now is a guy that wins between Fabio Worley and Ajit Carvalho. I said the same thing when Joseph Parker was holding the title. Joseph Parker should fight Ajit Carvalho, and that winner is the supreme king of contenders, even though one of them will be a champion. That would be the number one guy, undisputed contender, person that deserves to fight Usyk more than anybody else. Because it's those two. And then you got other guys out there still. AJ's still in the picture. You got Moses Altama, who's like looking phenomenal. You got other guys that's ranked high. Triple D is still out there. I don't know what he's gonna do next. None of these guys I feel like deserves a shot. Like Triple D, Lawrence Okoli, Murat Gassiev, Joseph Parker now, Philip Hergovich. All of these guys are just around. I don't feel like anyone has really like proven that they deserve a shot. I think the most 2 proven guys are Fabio Worley and Ajit Carvalho. And if they fight each other, and that should be an amazing fight, that will be the number 1 guy at the heavyweight division outside of Usyk. And I think if we can get that, and I know Carvalho got a fight coming up really soon, but if we can get that fight, that would be great. But I'm expecting Fabio Worley to fight Triple D next, simply because Triple D pulled himself out of those rankings to fight for that vacant or for the IBF or whatever ratings or whatever. Anyway, I'm thinking that because they're both with Frank, Fabio fighting Triple D would be an amazing fight. 2 knockout artists, So that's the way I see it. So when it comes to Wilder and Usyk, if Usyk wants to do that, let him do it, whatever, you know. Just like Floyd did it. When Floyd did it with Berto, yeah, I wasn't happy about it because, you know, this we always put like Floyd in a box. Like, I want him to fight this guy. I want him to fight Paul Williams. I want to fight him to fight Antonio Margarito or Arislani Lara. There's a million people I wanted to see Floyd fight. But at the same time, he had just came off of fighting Manny Pacquiao. And I'm like, I mean, you beat Manny Pacquiao? Like, am I really gonna be that mad he fought Andre Berto? And I look at it this situation the same. Should I really be mad at this? No. Do I want it? Not really. But if the man wants this fight, get and do what you gotta do. All right. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in a comment. I'm sure the comments are gonna be very mixed. I'm sure people that are pro Usyk are gonna be cool with it. And I'm sure people that are like, nah, Wilder right now, Usyk, fight for, you know, not undisputed, but for lineal championship. Nah, you know, people are definitely not going to be for it. All right. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, subscribe if you are new. Smash that thumbs up, share the video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.